Hello, dear Capricorns. We're starting a new month, July. This is a month when a new reality will keep developing more and more. Starting literally from May 2025, your planet begins a new cycle, and you might feel as if you're ready to reset, to completely open yourself up to a new step and move in a new direction. Maybe this has already happened. Maybe May and June have already become turning points. Perhaps somewhere along the way, you let go of where you were and fully committed to some new movement and new direction. Right now, your planet is starting a new 3-year cycle, and July is important because it really highlights this new cycle. The end of July, especially the new moon on the 24th, is a real marker, a check mark, an important key point on the path of your new trajectory. And now, in this video, I will talk about 5 key events. There will be a very important full moon for you in the sign of Capricorn. On the 10th, there will be other important moments happening, and in this video, there will be 5 key storylines. Each of them may play out, or might basically pass you by. This is because you have your own birth date, and sometimes it resonates with these general things I'm talking about, and sometimes it doesn't. Below the video, you can open a page for free, enter your birth date, and you'll see a list of all the events for this month. Next to each event, there will be plus signs calculated specifically for your birth date. You can check those out. I also have additional material related to birth dates in a private group format. There, I publish early access to my videos. We go over different educational materials, and you can calculate your own personal events there as well. Not the general ones I talk about on YouTube, but your own personal events for the week, month, or year. All of this is conveniently organized in the form of charts. Join us. There will be a link to this private group below the video. And now, let's move on to the analysis of the first key event. This is, in fact, the beginning of July. From the 1st to the 5th, Black Moon comes into play here. The Black Moon is kind of a thing unto itself, capable of imagining or inventing some sort of emotional intrigue. In other words, people here have a tendency to get worked up, to make things up, to fantasize something out of their own minds. Not in touch with reality, but simply something imagined. It could be some kind of jealousy issue, or it could be doubts, even about someone close, or someone with whom there is, by default, an emotional and trusting connection. And there's this note of, is this mine or not mine? Is this the right person? Or am I trusting them for nothing? Or is my trust justified? This instability in your inner trust towards people can latch onto some flaw, some misunderstanding, and from there spiral into a moment of jealousy. And here it's important to understand that with the Black Moon, the main thing that feeds it is uncertainty. If you keep silent, hide your fear, your uncertainty, your doubt, it only grows stronger. But if you can go directly to the person and say, listen, these are the thoughts I'm having. Please comment on your behavior or explain the situation. And when those around you keep their cards hidden, you start thinking, wow, I really got carried away, or I made all this up in my head. In other words, the Black Moon simply disappears and evaporates from the space. If there's an opportunity for open dialogue and to ask directly, head on. For Capricorn ascendants, let me clarify that this intrigue, and the Black Moon itself, can manifest through the 10th house. This is an indication of a false authority figure. So, when it moves through the 10th house or crosses the MC, the boundary of the 10th house, it could mean that a fake boss is appointed to our workplace, or a boss with some oddities, or that my career develops with an element of a strange reputation. We are conducting some negotiations, but people have some doubts about us and our work, because the Black Moon, influencing my career, makes it a bit questionable, either through dubious methods or questionable leadership. At the very least, make sure to keep track of when, during the week when the Black Moon crosses this MC boundary, there will most likely be some dubious or strange situation, either with boss or with your career. Let's move on right now. From July 7th to July 12th. Here, we actually have a full moon, which takes place in your sign Capricorn. And during these days, you should pay attention to the fact that you are receiving a lot of strength. You are given plenty of resources, energy, confidence, power, and the feeling that, damn, anything is possible. This is also because Mars, the main planet that charges us with energy, is currently in the sign of Virgo, giving you a real powerful adrenaline rush. It gives the feeling that I have enough energy to climb Everest, or even walk straight into the fire. Work tasks? No problem. At the same time, there are moments in July when you should rest, relax, and take a breather, and I'll tell you about those too. But here, precisely at the moment of the full moon, there may be a feeling of a surge of energy that needs to be spent on something, and working moments will be at hand here. Even if you don't do any work, then go straight to the dacha and pull out some weeds, tidy it all up, systematize it, put it in order. AAA. A very important role throughout July, really all of July, but especially around these dates, is also played by the node of the past, which is in Virgo and is all about reaping good fruits from what was once sown in the past. Somewhere you succeeded, you organized a business, or held a certain position, or resolved some career or financial situation, and now it is coming back to you from the past. You need to earn from it again, resolve something, get some results. That's why communities from the past, places from the past, can be a pretty constructive and productive force. If you need to do renovations there, or if you have some big project to tackle, you can bring in your old acquaintances, involve those people and energies you've worked with before. They'll be a real constructive help to you in any endeavor. Let me also clarify a small point. Here, during this period, on the 7th, Uranus moves into Gemini. Uranus in Gemini symbolizes rapid learning, much easier than it has been over the last 5 or 10 years. And over the next 3 months, July, August, and September, you'll notice its influence, as if it's tossing a bunch of new ideas your way. Where and how you can learn something new. And especially considering that right now, this spring and summer, you're starting a new 3-year cycle, learning will be very appropriate. So here, during this July and even into August, getting involved in educational programs is just the thing. It'll be enjoyable, interesting, exciting, full of adrenaline and drive, and you'll have all the energy you need. You can really sink your teeth into learning here, to the point that sparks are flying. Well, not sparks. What's the word? Stone dust is flying. Okay. For those with an ascendant, let me clarify. The full moon is happening in the first house. Me, my plans, my ambitions, my goals, my career, my self-fulfillment. At the same time, Mars is activated in the 8th house. We're structuring the business, putting order into the financial infrastructure, and systematizing processes. In short, it's all about me and my business. That's the vibe of this event. Now, let's actually talk about when it's time to take a break. On July 14th and 15th, an important family energy comes into play, connected with trust, warmth, attentiveness, and sensitivity. It's the energy of the Cancer sign and Jupiter in Cancer. This is exactly the moment to set work aside. That's it, don't stress, don't get involved in any work processes. Turn your attention to those with whom you share an emotional bond, who inspire you emotionally, with whom you're charged with feelings for each other. And here's a key point. People who care about each other help and support one another. That's the essence of these dates. the 14th and 15th. They have a strong emotional emphasis on establishing trust, maybe even pushing our way into trust, because on the night of the 14th to the 15th, Black Moon also comes into play, which can even turn the emotional drama up a notch so that the emotional connection happens just the way it needs to. But still, these are two very good, sweet, heartfelt, and caring days, and focusing on your personal life during these couple of days is truly the right thing to do. For those with an ascendant, let me clarify that here we're talking about Jupiter and the Sun. The Sun is most likely exactly in the 7th house, and it represents an important personal agreement with your loved one about making some joint decisions. Or maybe some initiative from your close partner, like, hey, why don't we do something together? Let's go somewhere to the sea, relax for a bit. And also, keep an eye on when Jupiter crosses the boundary of the 7th house. It's exactly at these moments that it will start to manifest as the main lucky theme of the year in relationships and personal life. So, Jupiter acts as a symbol of inspiration, joy, happiness, or even extraordinary opportunities, but specifically those that come into play in the area of the 7th house, when it crosses this line of the descendant. And I guess that's all there is to say about this event. From July 17th to the 22nd. This is the period when there's a lot of work-related tension, but it gets resolved and managed quite effectively. So everything is really boiling in the work sphere, in business. It's a fierce, tough, and powerful wave. But all of this specifically relates to work of a mental or intellectual nature. Wherever you need to use your brain, think things through, figure things out, have tough, no-nonsense discussions. And this is all connected to the period when Mars is in Virgo, which really sinks its teeth into knowledge, words, discussions, contracts, agreements, and can plow through any amount of accounting, reports, paperwork. All of this gets resolved here in no time at all. And at the same time, Mars is currently moving along the node of the past, and it literally feels like there's an old force from the past that's helping me sort things out. Maybe there's an old accountant, maybe there's an old team, and together with them, we're working hard, really well, efficiently, and productively. Well, the main thing is that this energy comes through the Earth element, through Mars and the Earth sign of Virgo, so it's a very familiar, understandable mood for you to get down to some serious work. For those with Virgo rising, let me clarify that Mars in Virgo is most likely connected to your 8th house, the house of business, asset management, the structuring of this financial business system, managing other people's money, structuring, well, the consciousness or managing the consciousness and processes of other people. That is, the ability to hold the key, responsible position in managing money, among other things. But overall, this is more the aspect of a banker or something along those lines, or the aspect of a person who secures investments, and does so in a rather aggressive way, in a distinctly Mars-like manner. So, you could pose as a debt collector here, or work with collectors. How do you like this kind of summer activity? July 24th is actually the main day I already mentioned in the introduction. It's the new moon in Leo, which really kicks off this new 3-year Saturn program, which you may have already gotten acquainted with in May or June, or maybe you took some bold step. Here, I'd like to refer to your comments. For example, BK User 5 Pro, well, in short, writes Capricorn, Pisces ascendant. In May, I decided to change jobs after working there for 3 years. By the way, Capricorns often live according to Saturn's cycles. When Saturn enters a certain sign, a new story begins for them. Saturn stays in one sign for about 2.5 years, 2 to 3 years. And you can often notice that your context for achievement keeps shifting whenever Saturn moves into a new sign. And here, in May, Saturn moved into Aries, starting its new 3-year story. And right here, it says that you decided to break up with your ex. We haven't been able to break up for half a year, and I bought a course in a related field. So, there is this readiness to move towards something new. Irina, who's 7 anyway, Irina writes, I'm an Aquarius, but my ascendant is in Capricorn. I've worked in medicine, in a morgue, for the last 30 years. For 2 years, I was mentally preparing to leave, and finally, I made up my mind. On June 9th, I'm starting a new job 1,000 kilometers from home. On the 12th, I'm getting on the train. Rails. Well, on June 12th, actually, there's a lot of tension because of Mars. I hope everyone made it safely. But essentially, this is also the story of how Capricorns are, in a way, starting a new 3-year cycle, and they're doing it a bit like Aries would, boldly, simply, and sometimes even blindly in some places. Give me some feedback on this format with comments. Do you find it useful? Do you actually need it? Because at least it creates some kind of dialogue between us. Because I often get criticized, like, hey, the forecasts don't work anymore, or they don't work the same way, or something like that. Here, at least, there's a chance to discuss these topics with you. So, the new moon on July 24th. It really highlights this new 3-year cycle that you're entering now, and it gives you even more strength to open up and move forward into places where you still don't quite understand what or how things will be, but the initiative, boldness, and courage are already there to step into this new chapter. For those with this as their ascendant, I should clarify that the new moon falls in the 7th house and is directly connected to a partner who is pushing me toward this growth and new movement. This could be a key decision in a personal sense, or in a romantic situation, where together with a partner, or through a partner, this decision happens, that now we're moving forward together in that direction. But the aspect from this new moon goes to Saturn in the 2nd house. So, most likely, it's a partnership situation that pushes me toward new earnings. Basically, my friend or partner is nudging me, saying, go get that job or move in that direction. And this directly leads to a new stage in my career self-fulfillment. And basically, that's all I have. Thank you for your attention. Below the video, you'll find a link to get a free calculation for these 5 key events. You'll see it marked with plus signs. The events themselves are general and the same for everyone, but the plus sign will show your individual involvement in each event. I also have a private group where you can get personalized forecasts, not general ones, but those specifically related to your date of birth. There, you'll find charts and forecasts for the week, the month, and the year. There's also secret access to videos. For example, this video was already available on June 15th in the private channel. Alright, thanks for your feedback. Subscribe so you don't lose track of us. See you next time. This was Pavel Chudinov with you.